you across the story, and because it was Dave Chappelle, I'm like, dude, I wish I could teach my social studies class the way he just said that so eloquently. But it's legitly like me saying it would be different than Dave Chappelle saying it because Dave Chappelle has to live it. I'm just a guy I'm the reporter that goes to the neighborhood that tells, right?
I would never thought it down, but
I'm the reporter that say, hey, black people feel this way. You should pay attention to them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the like it's like, here's the thing. I think a lot of times people don't give every comedian their props is the elegance in which they do it.
Yes.
Right? They like comedy, man. Try to do comedy. I could be funny. I could be fun. I could tell stories. I could be funny. My facial expressions. But to think about like how comedians get up there and they're bearing their soul in front of whether it's 10 people, or 10,000 people. And if you're not feeling it, you don't think they know, and they still go through it. Like, think about I remember watching this thing on like comedians. Kevin Hart was talking about it. I love his show. It's changed, but it was like, it's Gold Mines now, but he's got a podcast. It used to be like Comedy Gold Mines.
Okay.
And he talks about, it took 10, 20 years for a lot of people to really get into like, a place where they could sell out an arena. Think about that. 10 to 20. Like if somebody said, hey, Barry, give me 10 to 20 years. And on your 21st year, you might possibly could actually make enough money to pay your car note. Or be rich.
Yeah.
I don't think all of us would say that.
Nope.
And in 2023, most of these young people coming up, they're not going to put in 20 years to try to get rich. They want to get rich. They want to sell that GameStop stock from, they want to go on their Reddit and try to mask a plan to get rich.
You see, that's the difference between the comedians that we're talking about and the new generation comedians, because people think they're a comedian because they throw up a YouTube channel or the YouTube.
And it's funny, but it's not.
It's not the same. And it's like when you have somebody like, and the thing, like all the comedians that we just named, the thing I like about them, let me tell you, the thing I love about them is, they may sell out arenas, but they go back to the small comedy spots too. To
work on their stuff.
To work on their routine, to make it easily accessible for other people that can't possibly afford that arena type prices and things of that nature. As opposed to when you got these new comedians coming out now where it's like, you're going to have to pay me in order to come see me. And they don't put the work in. They don't put the work in. I forgot who was having a conversation, but they was comparing the YouTube comedians to today's comedians and how one YouTube comedian tried to cross over into the mainstream comedians like the Bernie Macs and things like that, and he failed miserably.
Yeah, you can't. Listen, you got to, I don't know how to explain it other than, you could listen to us, but I also tell people you definitely have to go and look at literally the type of stuff that they have to do in order to succeed, right? So when you are looking at these comedians and the amount of stuff that they have to put into their craft just to get it right for 5 minutes, right? I'm looking up a list because my other one that's on here. So I saw Kevin Hart live in 2016. My wife and I went to see Kevin Hart in UMass. Okay. What now? Okay. I know people go backwards and say "Laugh at My Pain," things like that. Now, what now? Where he talks about his son taking the garbage out where there's no lights and hearing the thing, and he slams the door on his son, and he's like, he puts his hand on the glass. I'm sorry, son. And you can hear the flip-flops running. I did that shit to my son. And I laughed because I was like, yo, take the garbage out. So he took the garbage out. And he's like, Dad. I hear him yelling. He runs around the corner. He's like, Dad, something's back there. I heard. I slammed it. He's ringing the doorbell. I'm like, is it going? So when he came out with that, talking about like his daughter hiding, right? And then just popped out like 3 hours later. Or when they thought there was an issue, when his dad and him just jumped in and went and stayed at the hotel and came back the next morning. and the daughter was like, gotcha.
Or even like one of my favorites too, along that line, Cat Williams, the Pimpin'.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
When you talk about, don't take this personal, but said, Get you some white friends.
Yep. But listen, take it personal.
Get you some white friends. Or when he's talking about him at the Mexican party, how they never end. That's true. Or even one of his other comedy specials, even though he made a joke of it, but he talked about how we over-medicate our kids.
Oh, yeah. It ain't, yeah.
But he made it so funny because he used his own son as an example. And one line I keep forgetting. So, what you thinking about? Running? Because they put on to calm him down.
Listen, Cat Williams is hilarious. You know what? Here's the problem with this podcast. Like, trying to get the top 5. It really, you can't narrow it down because it all depends on the moment, too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. My wife and I went to see Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, live, right?
Funny,
at Foxwoods. Hilarious, man. Master storyteller. Like, the ability to take you from one place to another, and you're just sitting there. You know, I'm not going to say... Like, each one of these people is master storytellers. They're not, like, they can bring you on a journey. Like, listen, I like sarcasm. I like sarcastic comedy. So I'm going to go, I know we're talking a lot about black comedians, so I'm going to have to, for my white people out there, I'm going to have to name 2 people that I put on the Mount Rushmore of, like, comedians. It's George Carlin.
Okay, yes.
All right. The words that you're never supposed to say, but really, when you see like his special, "It's Bad for You," where he just talks about all this. Like, if you go back and watch George Carlin, it's a commentary about 2022, 2021, talking about like Republicans will say like, you know, no abortion, right? But once you're born, you're fucked. That's what he says. And if you go back and watch it, and you think about where we're at right now, you're like. Dude, this dude was talking about that in the early 2000s. Right? And then Bill Burr.
Okay, yes.
Bill Burr is hilarious because I like an angry comedian. And he just points stuff out. And I remember the first comedy show I watched, he was talking about how he was dating his wife. And his wife was living in Harlem. And she was like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. She's like, you want to come over? And he's like, sure. He goes, I'm walking up and down the street. And he goes, once you get from like, you know... past 125th, there's just less and less and less white people. And then it's kind of like you're the only one. And it's funny because I remember like going to Rucker Park and after you get off on 125th, it's like, oh, well, you know, people are looking at there, like white people are walking around and it's like, well, they're skipping, you know, holding hands. You go like you go 2 streets over. It's like, damn, I don't see nobody like me no more. You get to Rucker Park, you're like, shit. I'm watching my mouth.
The first question out of everybody's mouth. Is that the feds over there?
Yeah, lying. I remember being in North Philly the first time I got off we got off the SEPTA. That's what they call the train. We get off in North Philly, right? And I'm with my boy, and these dudes is like, yo, who are you? And I'm like, what you talking about? I'm like, I'm here to go see my boy. And they're like, nah. Only white people come here are the cop or the cops. And you too big to be copping. So you gotta be a cop. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right. At first, I was a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, if I mess up what I say now, that could be it for me. I'm hit.
Life and death.
I'm 21. I'm like, shit, I'll fight you, but I can't fight everyone. I'll get a couple people. I was on Shake back then. I said, I'll catch a couple people, but I'm like, yo, you pull out on me, I'm done. I'm like, you might as well just end it.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, I'm with Beast. They was like, okay. I'm like, yo, I gotta pass. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, now, my boy's like, yo, I grew up in the North End of Hartford. We ain't doing this shit again. He's like, it was bad up there. You can talk about that shit is funny because he told me a story about how, like, you know how in Boys in the Hood, y'all want to see a dead body? He was like, my older brother was like, yo, you want to see a dead body? So they go down the train tracks and there's a dude dead, right? And he's like, oh shit, he was like 10. And then he went home and acted up and got his ass whooped. So it was like, listen, you know what else is funny? Like when we talk about comedians, do you remember, had to be like 95, 96, 97, when they had the show where they would crack on each other? You got 5 minutes. It was before Wildin' Out. And there would be comedians and be like, yo, I think it was like called Yo Mama or something like that. And that shit's like, well, your mama's so big when she sat on a dollar, she made 4 quarters. Remember that? And it would come on at like 11 o'clock at night on UPN.
Yes.
Damn, I want to know what that is now.
Yes.
Yo, that's comedy. Me and my boys used to do that. After school, after football, basketball practice, we just stay there for an hour, cracking jokes on each other.
Please, we used to do that. Anytime we was if it was in the classroom, lunchroom.
Oh my God, we were
at practices.
Listen, I got my boy so bad, right? For people out there listening, you gotta understand this is my boy to this day, so don't try to cancel me. He was talking shit because my father used to like wear tight ass sweatpants, so they'd be like, "Yo, your dad is, and he's a teacher." So I was like, "That's why your dad went to the store for milk, asked you if you wanted something. He ain't been back since." I was like, "You still expecting the Snickers bar for your pops, motherfucker?" Like, what you damn dad. And then my other boy would make fun of me. Like, that's why your mom, every time I call her, she's like, "What's up, sweetie? How you doing, honey?" I was like, "Is she a prostitute?" Your mom be coming out the corner. Give me a hug. You got $5? Yo, it used to be brutal. And then my boy, he couldn't come back after that, right? But his ass could draw. He could draw his ass off. So I come into school, right, and I see like 30 flyers up. And it's me swinging off a McDonald's sign with Big Macs and Big Mac sauce, and it says like "Hold the lettuce." I'm like, you motherfucker! I'm like, yo. So like that's why I love comedy, because that shit, like, I still remember. I said to people, and I'll stand on this: if we had YouTube and camera phones when I was in high school and college, I'd have been in jail or a multimillionaire right now. The shit we did was funny. It probably was not funny to my mom. It probably wasn't funny to everybody else. No, it was not. As a teacher, I could tell you that shit was not funny to teachers. Yo, we had a.
What's that thing we always say nowadays? Damn, this should be a reality show.
Yo, listen. We had a teacher who cut the first knuckle off his index finger. He was a gym teacher. So remember back in the day, you had to run like 4 laps in a certain amount of time, right? So he's like, you guys got 4 laps left. We're like, no, we got 3.5. Yo, and he would just laugh. He would just laugh because it was like, what you gonna do, man? You set yourself up for that. Like, you can't even. Listen, I think I'm the only. Me and my 2 boys are the only people to ever have assigned seating in college because we sat next to each other. Now, listen, I'm sharing this with the audience. I don't want people to take offense because now I want to do this. Our English teacher used to call on a girl that stuttered. And I'm not talking about like Joe Biden stuttering. I'm talking about straight up take you 3-4 minutes to get a sentence out. Now, when you're 17, 18 years old and you make eye contact with your best friends, you cannot hold that in.
Nope.
Yo, I get a tap on my shoulder and I hear and I was like, then this is a true story. Then I go to Eastern, right? So I'm at Eastern and my roommate, who's also 6'7", but skinny. He got the we always used to say we're brothers, but he got the good genes. So we're there, right? And there's a kid that used to shake in class. So one day my boy looks at me and goes, "Yo, look at Sam Shaky over there." And I don't know why, but that nickname, we still talk about it to this day. I'm like, "Yo, what would you do if you bumped into Shaky today?"
And see, and the sad thing is, the way the world is nowadays, today, y'all will get canceled.
Yo, and that kid, he was hilarious. He heard, he knew we called him that. He was like, "I like that nickname." Because it's like it's like the reverse of bullying today, where you get a nickname. Like, I remember there was a kid that growing up, they used to call him Crip because he had, I forgot what the actual name of it was, but he had a smaller hand. Like he had, so they called him Crip, short for crippled.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, "Yo, what's your name?" He was like, "Crip." He didn't care. Like, you call me Big Country because I'm a big white basketball player, right? Like, people now will be like, "That's mean." That shit was. What are you talking about? What are you talking about is mean?
Exactly.
Like, you know what mean is? Going to the lunch lady and going, "My mom didn't give me money for food. You can't get none."
That's me.
We ain't got nothing for you. Now you do that shit. Like, they be like, "Hey, we got free food. We got free this. Here's a card. Have your parents call. We'll hook you up." Like, it's like, what the... Back in the day, that's just what it is.
Yep. But nowadays, Like I said, that's why sometimes I can appreciate a comedian like Dave Chappelle right now, because it's like his type of comedy.